I just came out here to my shop. It flooded my shop. I have never seen this before. So check this out. We just got 4.1 inches of rain and it's still raining. Check the yard out. So we've literally just had hundreds upon hundreds of lightning strikes in the last hour, and I haven't felt safe enough to get anywhere near these windows. The yard is actually way down from where it was, and the pool has been overflowing for almost an hour and a half, and I drained that pool this morning. Holy smokes, y'all. An insane amount of rain. Our road was just a river. I'll show you a picture here of what the yard looked like just a little bit ago. Isn't that crazy? And we had 40-mile-an-hour winds last night according to my weather station. So y'all, we had apparently just one of the hardest rains that we have ever once had on this property come through. And we've owned this property for 10 years. And I just found something really disturbing. I'll show you that in a second. I wasn't gonna start recording until tomorrow, but now we have repairs to do, and I've just had a big problem. Golly. So I just showed y'all pictures. The entire yard was underwater like I've never seen. And one thing I want to remind y'all, we got a foot of rain here one night. A foot, 12 inches overnight in a tropical storm before. Ruger's loving the rain. And today was worse than that night that we got a foot of rain. That's how quick it come down. My weather station that I have over here that y'all seen me install, it said we were getting 5 inches per hour whenever I was reading it in the height of the storm, and the entire yard just flooded. Oh my goodness. And this, my friends, is why you do not look. By the way, I just had to pour Ruger's pool washed all the way down in here, and it's full of water. That goes down another 8 or 10 inches. It's trying to go underneath the pool. This, my friends, is why you don't want your skimmer to be your overflow point of a pool. I was mentioning to people I put this overflow in for a reason, to drain the pool in some of these thunderstorms that we get, and several people commented, oh, it'll just overflow out of here. This is what happens when it overflows out of your skimmer. There is a several foot, probably 4 or 5 foot long ditch, a foot deep hole. It tried to go underneath. It washed up all my bonding wire and has moved all the dirt all the way out there in the yard. Now here's the crazy thing. I drained the pool off this morning. I drained it down to as low as you see it, almost a foot low. We got so much rain so quick, it filled the pool up and started overflowing out the skimmer, and this is the lowest part of the pool, and just washed it all away. I should have just left the drain open, which is what I'm doing now, because they're calling for, you ready for this? They're calling for like 70 to 90% chance of rain for the next 10 days on the forecast. We went from, we were pretty dry and needing rain, to now, oh my goodness, feast or famine, as they always say. Next 10 days, and a bunch of those days they're saying greater than 2 inches. They don't know how much. We're dealing with some crazy weather. There's been tornadoes everywhere, especially just north of us over the Georgia line right here. I know y'all been dealing with a lot of stuff. This is not June weather, y'all. Crazy. The reason I know this is the most rain in a short amount of time that we've ever received since owning this property, I just came out here to my shop. It flooded my shop. I have never seen this before. So that's all soaking wet. It come up in this room. Okay, whatever, I can deal with that. What you can't see is, see the water right here? There's water all underneath my boat. All my lumber I had stored down there is no good. This room back here, which I have tons of stored stuff in here, cardboard boxes on the floor, everything else, water went all in that room. You see the floor is damp and it's still puddled up all in there. I mean, look, that's standing water, y'all. See the reflection? Standing water all back there, flooded all underneath here. Oh my goodness. Look over here. Come all in here. You can see it's finally receding now. Never once had this happen. This entire area was underwater. Every box and everything on the floor is just soaked up water. It actually stinks really bad in here. Still got standing water all over here. Luckily I don't have any electrical near the floor, otherwise I wouldn't be walking in this. There's standing water here that y'all can't see. This is insane, absolutely insane. And I'm not gonna go back in there. There's standing water in my electrical room. in my electrical room. That is not supposed to happen. That is not supposed to happen at all. That is dangerous. Luckily, electrical's raised way off the floor, but still, I'm not supposed to have that happen. Oh my goodness. So we've got a major problem we've got to fix tomorrow. Luckily, I'm hearing thunder out there. We got a little bit more weather coming. I don't think we're gonna get any more severe weather tonight, but we've got a major pileup and flood problem behind the building, and we're gonna have to cut some ditches. So we're gonna do that in this episode ASAP. I'm stopping all my other work because 10 more days are calling of rain, major rain. I can't deal with this again. We can't flood my shop out anymore, especially my electrical room. That is so dangerous. I got a lot of work ahead of me now. Look at this. It has just washed me down to bare dirt. I had 3-4 inches of mulch here that Tiffany and I spent a few days putting all in here, and it's just all washed out now. Entire barn was flooded. Everything's wet. Look, everything. We're under the center of a 42-foot by 80-foot barn, and nothing escaped this storm. All right, chickens, how did y'all fare? I bet y'all did not like that storm. Oh, look at this poor girl. She is soaked to the bone. These chickens are not smart enough to get in their hen house when there's a storm. They just stand out here like fools and get soaking wet, and I don't know why they do that. The rooster's the only one that's smart enough to go in the hen house. The hens, they just stay out here and get wet. So I'm back here on the back side of my building looking at what my problem is, and to be honest with you, I've just got too many slopes in the property going on here. There's only one good way to drain all of this water out. So the property comes sloping down from this direction, and it kind of slopes back to this direction in front of the camera. So trying to drain water out the far end, I'm really going uphill. I'd have to dig out so much, it would just look odd, and I wouldn't be able to mow the area well. Whenever we originally put this shop in, I come back here and dug a swell out right here, but it's filled in over the years with all the dirt and debris that washes down and all this grass. I really hate to pull my grass up, but I can't flood my shop again. We'll try the bucket. We may have to go to the box blade, but we're gonna have to pull some of this grass out and kind of dig this swell back and force this water to run to this low spot right here. And I see it kind of builds back up right here. Sadly, I'm gonna have to remove some grass out of this area right here. I may go ahead and just remove all the grass out of the drive in between the building and rock this. By the way, I just ordered 50 tons, yes, you heard that right, 50 tons of a number 5 rock. That'll get delivered here next week, and we'll just go ahead and have a pile of rock on the property to take care of projects like this. I thought the price seemed relatively reasonable with as high as diesel is right now, so it made sense to go ahead and get it. So in the meantime, I guess let's just work on making this area look ugly. We need to dig it out. Now here's the thing that I have realized is probably my biggest problem. I can't really help the fact that we're coming down the hill, and I can't help the fact that the shop was not built up higher than it is. Really wish it was, but this was back in the day before I was doing a lot of my construction. And this is another reason why I don't really hire people out to do my work anymore, because my standards just seem to be a little different. But one thing I can do for a minimal investment, I need to get me a large 6-inch seamless gutter back here. So I've got to call out to my gutter guy, wait for him to call me back. And what we're gonna do is put a downspout on each end of the building, and I'm gonna point them away from the building. I'm gonna run a long downspout tube off that end of the building to drain water around the property. So keep in mind, this is a 50-foot long building with a huge roof up there that's shedding all that water back here. That's why I have all this rock here. That's putting a ton of water here. If I can direct it off each end of the building, I think I can always handle what's coming down the hill here, especially if I dig this swell out a little more. look at this. The road had so much water coming down it yesterday, it's just cut in it. This is hard packed. But either it washed this hole out or we had a sinkhole open up. That's not what you want to fall in with your car tire first thing in the morning. It has cut so much dirt out of this road. It's insane. What y'all can't tell on camera, it's cut the road down probably 8 inches lower than that right there. There was so much water coming down this road yesterday. I wanted to film it. It's the most I've ever seen, but it was popping lightning so much I couldn't. It was foaming, white watering, had waves. This road completely like 8 to 10 inches deep, just carrying all that flood water down there. I've got to build a berm up right here to direct water off to the sides to stop some of this. Eventually, we can save up some more money. I'm going to buy a bunch of rock, probably I'm guessing $5,000 or $6,000 worth to do this whole section in our parking area correctly. We've lost so much dirt too. The center hump gets really high down here. I think I'm gonna go ahead while I got the box blade cut and drag all this, try to fill in some of these ruts and knock this high grassy spot down, because it's getting to the point now the mower deck is catching on it. Alright, so check this out. I wound up getting quite aggressive with my swell and runoff here. I got a little too aggressive here, but my plan is when my rock comes in next week to kind of backfill, I might go ahead and kill the weeds in this entire area, throw rock all the way up to the building, up to here. I think these couple of bays right here, later on when I get them cleaned out, I'm going to pack them up with dirt, so when the water runs off the back side of the building, it's forced to kind of come here as well as come around from behind this building as well. But I took out several inches of dirt here, so the water should be able to come around and continue to flow downhill. This is going to get muddy and washed out until I get the rock in, but we've got so much more rain coming and predicted that this needed to happen. So look right here, the way it ties in. That's a pretty big swell on the back side of the building there that I made. That's how it used to be, but over the years, dirt washes down, grass cuttings and grass roots will fill that in and raise the level to where the water doesn't run good anymore. There was no point in carrying it out that end because again, we're sloping uphill, but now I get really quick runoff to here. Some's probably gonna go into the building until I build this up and then straight out that way. I think this should be able to shed water very quickly, probably quick enough that I don't need anything else. But with that said, my gutter guy just called me back. My guy that does all my seamless gutters, he's gonna come out in a couple of days, quote me on a 50-foot gutter back here with 2 downspouts. And again, I'm doing a larger 6-inch gutter. I don't do the little 4-inch stuff, so we can shed all that water. With as much rain as we had yesterday, even a 6-inch would probably run over, but it still will be moving a tremendous amount of water off that end of the building, and I'll have it dump right here in this area. Another reason I'm going to need to pack this whole area with rock as well. I think between clearing all this out in the gutter, I will never ever have a problem again with flooding in this building. What I'm going to have to continue to do though is every couple years get my butt out here and clean this area out. All the rain that we just got, all the rain that we're about to get, any high winds out of these next storms now that the ground's saturated, forget about it. Trees are going to go down left and right, and if we get a hurricane, it's going to be bad. This is the kind of situation that leads up to a hurricane. All this rain, all this flooding, saturated ground, to where we're without power for a long period of time because so many trees can come down at once. This is the kind of stuff we get ready for. Come on. Can't stand it, can you? As soon as you hear that Ranger crank up, you gotta go. You gotta ride, don't you? All right, I've got the road packed out, that high center hump dug out. I'm seeing some pine trees down in here. Figured that was gonna happen. Let's keep looking for any more trees. Just think about it. All right, I've done seen several pine trees down out in the woods. We're not gonna walk out and look at them, but it's like I have lost quite a few pine trees. Another one that's down. Man, I hate losing these pine trees. Flowing down here like crazy. We were in a little bit of a drought. Everything was really low out here. All my ponds, clay pits. All right, I just checked on this one 3 days ago, and I can tell you that's probably already up a foot from where it was. A lot of water rushed down here. Crazy. I just drove through here about 4 days ago. It was bone dry. This whole swamp has come up about a foot, it looks like. I mean, you can see right where I drove through, and it was just nothing but mud and kind of dry leaves. So, I don't know if y'all remember, I was cutting firewood out here a while back. Lightning struck and killed a bunch of trees. Looks like that storm blew the big top out of one of the trees, and it has crashed down and destroyed some green trees too. Huh. Yep, looks like a green tree has went down with the big dead tree. Oh, maybe we can get that pulled out in a few months before it rots, turn it into some firewood. This dog loves to run, y'all. Watch this. loves to run. He does this every afternoon. Then he gets hot and he goes swimming. Stick right there. Oh yeah. Feel good. All right, so I got the big hole filled in here. Quite a bit of rock on the ground. I feel okay with that. I gotta hurry up and get some more rock in and get the landscape fabric down and all this stuff taken care of. But this was the area that washed all out. I've got so much rock here now, I feel okay. And the good news is, well, I didn't see many trees down. Decent amount of pine trees, but only just, well, a couple small hardwoods. Those are my favorite trees. I don't want to lose those if we can help it. So hey, that's what life throws at you. We got a lot more bad weather on the way. Fingers crossed we don't get any more floods like we did. That was just insane. No more high winds. We'll just take the rain. I wish I could send y'all some. I know a lot of y'all are needing it. But we got the pool patched up. We got the shop where I think it'll never flood again. Fingers crossed. And now we can move on to other projects. We'll get back into the pool series, move on to the deck, the fencing, all this other stuff. We'll catch you on the next episode.